Hello everyone, here is Renata Camargo and I'm in charge of SoftExpert Communication Management. Enjoy your participation in our webinar, Enterprise Data Strategy. What do I do with all this data? I'm here with Tobias Schroeder, SoftExpert's Product Marketing Manager, who will start now his presentation. Hello Tobias.
Hello Renata, hello everyone. Here's Tobias Schroeder. And in this webinar we are going to talk about enterprise data strategy. What do I do with all this data? So this is the last webinar of this year. I'd like to thank you in advance for your participation in all SoftExpert events of this year, and we hope it could be useful for you, for your company. So in this last webinar we're going to talk about data, about data strategy management, data strategy planning, and I'm going to start directly, objectively, talking about big data. Big data is the main term, the main concept that everybody is talking about at this moment. And what is data? What is this term big data? What's on your mind? All these things, these words here: technology, storage, complex databases, information, networks, analytics, software, all these things have been on our mind too. They have been driving innovation to companies. Our needs drive our innovation strategy as we grow beyond the core applications, systems of records, to analytics, mobility, and social systems of engagement. There's one trend, main trend, big data. This will have a huge impact on how you plan your overall technology strategy, as well as your specific strategies for analytics, cloud, mobile, etc. So we will be looking at the world through that lens, the big data lens. It's organizational information system. All this information must be managed in accordance with risk management, in accordance with regulatory compliance management and performance management requirements. There's no information without a context. There's no data without governance. Okay. This term big data has recently grown in prominence as a way of describing this phenomenon: growth in data volume, complexity, and disparity. Definitions and thresholds for what actually constitutes big data have been offered, but for the average employee that relies on data to support business decisions, these definitions are meaningless. Capturing data, storing it, and managing it are serious challenges for most organizations. But where the rubber really meets the road is transforming data into meaningful and usable business insight. If you want to see the impact data is having, look at the rising demand for data scientists and business analysts. The technology is just not the real bottleneck anymore. It's like special effects at the cinema. For decades, it was hard to get a realistic monster or space scene, and directors were limited on what was achievable. But now it's much simpler. If the director can imagine it, the special effects team can create it. As technology barriers fall, the human aspects become more and more important. Real data science, it's about science, it's about creativity, choosing from everything that could be calculated to work on the things that will make the most difference to the business. And that's about people and leadership, not technology. Data is exploding because it is coming from so many sources continuously: systems, sensors, and more. But the amount of data isn't the only issue. There are three key issues to overcome if you want to discuss big data: volume, velocity, and variety. Let's start with volume. We are talking about zettabytes to measure data. 7.9 zettabytes. This is the estimated amount of digital data worldwide by 2015. In 2011, it was estimated at 1.8 zettabytes. In 10 years, you can expect the amount of data your company has to deal with to have increased 32 times. You have to be ready to manage it. You have to be ready to utilize it. So do you know how much is a zettabyte? 1 zettabyte is a 1 with 21 zeros after it. You have to be able to deal with lots and lots of all kinds of data moving really quickly. Today, most of this data is passing by you. You blink and it's gone. So the second V is velocity. Worldwide digital content will double in 18 months and every 18 months thereafter. It's not the actual volume, but the velocity that it's growing. And variety, the third V, 80% of enterprise data will be unstructured, spanning traditional and non-traditional sources, different kinds of content. And researching about these 3 V's, I found other V's that, of course, not a formal approach for this, but I'd like to mention here. Variability and veracity. So variability, many options for analysis. It's not just the content and his variety and his velocity, but options that I have to do my analysis. So the variability, when the same data can be analyzed in different ways. And veracity, that is value and reliability of this information. Which of this information has a real value to my organization, has reliability, when I can support my decisions. But when we talk about big data or about data strategy management, we're not just talking about a tool or a technology. Big data is a recent term. As we can see here at Google Trends graphic, we are seeing that for 3 years ago, the concept of big data is growing. But we have a robust technology that is called business intelligence that remains almost at the same level during more than 10 years. Companies continue using business intelligence. And now we have another term that is called business analytics that is growing in importance too, as we can see, but not at the same level of business intelligence. So what's the difference between them? Business intelligence has traditionally been about reporting on historical trends and current business performance to check what happened years ago, months ago, and what are happening now, not exactly now, but when information is processed. So about historical trends. Then predictive analytics goes beyond these insights to create business impact. Predictive models allow you to not only predict the most likely outcome, but what's the best that could happen. But predictive analytics lets you standardize and automate this process, so decisions are fact-based instead of judgment or interpretation. When we are talking about a technology, a software, some technologies can identify standards, models of behavior of the information, and create a system of monitoring, highlighting trends, sending alerts. But the rule, the model, the decisions must be configured by some kind of intelligence, not just artificial intelligence, but based on real experience of the managers, of the decisions made. So if I have a set of rules applied to a set of data, I can identify behavior standards that I'm going to use to improve my decisions, to improve actions to be done. Okay, so it's not It's not technologies that are running separately. Even business intelligence has importance, and the predictive analytics, the business analytics are just not an evolution, but it's just an extension of these lots of capabilities that business intelligence software systems provide. Okay. Now I'd like to show you some information, some graphs. The first one is about data complexity. This is an obvious information. If I have more unique data sources in use, I will have a higher average time to completion of BI projects. But now, when we talk about the pressures of companies to implement data management systems, so the first one, the top one of this research conducted to Aberdeen, is there is too much crucial business information that are delivered late. So I don't have crucial business information at the time that I need. The second one, growing data is inaccessible or underutilized for business analysis. At this point, I'm talking about a direct relation with the volume of data, with velocity of data. The third one, data is too fragmented, siloed to develop a clear picture of the business. It's about integration. The fourth one, the volume of data is growing too rapidly for our current data infrastructure. Data growing related to data infrastructure. That is also important, not just the capacity to understand and analyze this information, but to process physically this information regarding to infrastructure, okay? And to address the business pressures depicted in the last slide, top performing companies are adopting several actions. First, as data continues to balloon, these companies are developing a long-term plan to gather data more effectively, filter out unnecessary noise, and extract business insight faster. They are also collecting feedback and requirements for data access from end users in order to make that data accessible and transparent as useful to the entire organization. Only the fourth one that are not a common strategic actions from best-in-class or laggard companies. It's about maturity level of companies. Some companies are still worried about data sources and other ones, and the best-in-class. This is not a key issue anymore. And still in the same research, the technology enablers. Transforming raw data into deliverable insight requires not only strong organizational capabilities, but also judicious use of right technologies. So the top one you can see is the traditional BI platform. I was talking about this, that is not BI is not dead. It has too much to show, too much to contribute to companies yet. We have two data queries and discovery tools, interactive drill down reports, and worries about quality, the data quality tools, enrichment, cleansing. So let's talk more objective on how to use all of these and how to configure to set big data for use. There are three main steps. And if you were to do a big data project on your own, today you would have to do many things to put together an end-to-end solution. Let's look at OpenSearch as an example. You have to work through various OS technologies, which are all great, but the task is on you to configure and manage this and keep up with the updates. Ingest, Kafka, Flume, and Scribe are tools for streaming data collection. While the models differ, the general idea is that these programs collect data from many sources, aggregate the data, and feed it into a database, a system like Hadoop or other clients. Store, it's data storage. Voldemort, Cassandra, and HBase are data stores that have been designed for good performance on very large datasets. Processed information. Azkaban and Uzi are job schedulers. They manage and coordinate complex data flows. Pig and Hive are languages for querying large non-relational data stores. Hive is very similar to SQL. Pig is a data-oriented scripting language. So Hadoop is currently the most widely used framework for processing data. Hadoop is an open-source implementation of the MapReduce programming model that Google popularized in 2004. It is inherently batch-oriented. Several newer technologies are aimed at processing streaming data, such as S4 and Storm. So here we can see all of the steps in a oriented diagram. Hadoop framework is just an example of how all of these technologies can contribute each other to provide open source big data application. Big data is there, all the information is there, is captured, and the ingest step is maybe reduced to facilitate the processing. It's be stored, is processing, and so a BI suite can create views, can check informations, can combine informations to provide useful information. So Hadoop isn't necessarily the answer for all big data problems. Often, challenges of data volume and scalability can be addressed with the other next generation advanced technologies, either as standalone solutions or in conjunction with Hadoop. To mitigate the sheer volume of data, companies are looking for more advanced methods for data compression, as well as deduplication. Some companies are also looking to virtualize their storage environments, not necessarily to reduce the amount of data under management, but to minimize and optimize hardware assets required to control that data. Creating an enterprise data strategy is not for the faint of heart. It first requires a commitment from the top and an acknowledgement that data is a corporate asset that must be managed and protected like any other asset. Given the difficulty of getting executive buy-in, it's not surprising that only 1 in 10 organizations have an enterprise data strategy. A key element in any data strategy is to design and implement a data governance program. The fundamental premise of data governance program is that the business designs and runs the program, and the IT department or data management team executes the policies and procedures defined by the data governance team. In addition, a good data governance program incorporates change management practices that accelerate user adoption and ensure long-term sustainability. With this, we can talk about maturity levels. How we find the maturity levels of companies now. Let's talk about 4 levels. Level 1, undisciplined, 35% of organizations. These companies are reactive. IT drive projects usually carried out by an individual. Duplicate and inconsistent data. Inability to adapt to business changes. Executives unaware of the cost of poor data. No standards for cleaning or sharing data. Okay, undisciplined. Level 2, reactive. 50% of organizations. Line of business influences IT projects. This is better. Little cross-functional collaboration. High cost to maintain multiple applications. Short-range projects. Little executive oversight. Level 3, proactive. 10% of organizations. IT and business collaborate. data viewed as a strategic asset. A team of data stewards maintain corporate data definitions and business roles, ongoing monitoring, emphasis on preventing rather than fixing data quality problems. And level 4, governed, just 5% of organizations. Business requirements drive IT projects. Repeatable automated business process, personalized customer relationships and optimized operations, data projects funded properly, executives and users trust in all database decisions. So I'm not expecting that you are in the level 4, but I hope you are not in the level 1. All of us agree that level 3 and level 4 are the higher maturity levels and are where we need to stay, with IT and business collaborating, or with business driving IT projects, data as a strategic asset, robust projects, and executives trusting on information and making the best possible decisions. Here are some recommendations on how to proceed about performance and data management. 10 steps for improving your data management. Assess your organization's maturity in BI and performance management. Consider the effectiveness of your current tools and applications. Reduce the number of BI tools and the use of spreadsheets. Compare the BI capabilities you have with those you want. Determine whether products currently in use can handle performance management well. Identify the types of data you need to access and analyze. Consider adopting or expanding metrics for performance management. Address organizational barriers to improving BI and performance management. Look into alternative means of software deployment. And examine software that can be deployed across roles in the enterprise. These are generic steps for improving data management, more focus on BI and performance management, but they are good suggestion on all kinds of data and information, okay? To check what you have, to define what you want, and proceed with comparisons and plan how to get there on the level 1. Well, as you know, SoftExpert promote webinars and events like these that talk about business challenges, but we still have a solution, a software solution, and if with all of these companies is the SoftExpert Excellence Suite. We have corporate performance management, have enterprise content management, more related to this subject here in this webinar, but product life cycle management, risk, quality, human development, asset, portfolio projects, governance and compliance, ITSM. So it's a complete suite to be used in the whole organization. I'd like just to show you some screens of our software solution. This first one is about content management, so we can classify all kind of content and visualize directly, check for my content and of the cycle of creation, content creation at the company. The second one is our performance management solution with indicators, objectives, perspectives if you are using balanced scorecard or not, but target and measurement that provides a performance index so you can check and monitor all this information with graphs, with lists of information, sending alerts, promoting discussions, okay? This third one is our solution of performance management, process management, where I can create my process but not just create and draft, but automate all of this process, setting responsibles of each activity, creating roles, business roles to the process, and this is a live environment at the company. Project management is a complete solution of project management with activities, dependencies between activities, use of resource allocation, not just human but as equipments too, checking, monitoring the status of the activities. Okay. And here the final one is a dashboard. We can create dashboards of all of these solutions, of this information that are there and in the system. So I can create my view, my user of a team, a view of what really is important to me or to my team, with graphs, with lists, with my activities, a summary of my activities. So here just an example of work orders, but I can create this kind of information of projects, of process, of contents. Okay. So SoftExpert has an information system that can help companies on this challenge of deal with a large amount of information, a large amount of data, with this velocity of growing of this data, with different kinds of analysis, variety, different kind of contents, kind of formats. So it's a complete way to organize, to create, to put all of this information under governance, and has models, standards to analyze, to get the information at the time that managers need to take best decisions, and more, not to take best decisions, but to monitor the decisions with action plans and projects, to put that decisions in action, to promote improvements at the company. Okay. I'd like to thank you for your time to watch more this webinar, the last webinar of this year, and I hope next year we can meet again on other webinars talking about governance, talking about excellence. Thank you.
Thank you, Tobias, and thanks to all of you who took part in this presentation. For more webinars, please visit our website www.softexpert.com. See you!